Thank you, Wynn. I'd like to start today by reading something that was in one of the many, many emails that I get every week. And I was just going to talk about it, but this lady says it so well that I'm just going to read it. It's called The Cycle of Life, in a book called Learning from the Big Picture by Madison Taylor. While we're on Earth, we are all human beings in different phases of our lives and soul development. As we walk through the world, the people we encounter appear so different from one another. We see babies, old men, pregnant women, teenage boys. We know couples on the verge of marriage and lonely widows. We interact with toddlers and terminally ill. As different as each person seems, they are all living the human experience. They are just at different places in the cycle that begins with birth and ends with death. Each stage is temporary and ultimately gives way to a new phase. This quality makes each phase precious because it will never last. One of the wonderful qualities possessed by babies and young children is that they are unaware that a cycle of life even exists. They simply are present to whatever they happen to be right now. They don't give much thought to the past or the future. Being around them reminds us of the joy that comes from living fully in the moment. On the opposite end of life's cycle are our elderly role models. They're a reminder that each phase of life should be treasured. Time does pass, and we all change, and we all grow older. Being aware of the cycle of life and our place in it makes us wiser. As we develop a true appreciation for the phase we are in, we can savor it more. A new mother going through a difficult time with her infant can more easily embrace her challenges because she knows that her child will grow up and she will long for this time again. Difficult and challenging periods are inevitable, but they're temporary. When we are fully engaged with life, we get to savor and grow from each new phase, and we are ready for the next one when it arrives. Fully embracing wherever you are in the cycle of life is very essential, and it's the essence to happiness and joy. I want to read one little part of that again. One of the wonderful qualities possessed by babies and young children is that they are unaware that a cycle of life even exists. They simply are present to wherever they happen to be right now. They don't give any thought to the past or the future. Being around them reminds us of the joy that comes from living fully in the moment. That's why this time we have with our young people, when they're part of us, it's so valuable. We can learn so much from them. As I was talking to the young people about joy is the topic this morning, joy and happiness, I thought I'd be very clever this week and come up with an acronym for joy. That's a clever thing to do. And how hard can that be? Well, folks, I'm going to tell you, just to go into detail perhaps about how hard that can be. This is the New Lexington Webster's Dictionary of the English Language, the encyclopedic version. Now, you can expand your awareness if you pay attention. You might be interested to know and be aware that there are 956 words in this dictionary that start with the letter J. I read every one of them and counted them. in my search for something that would fit in an acronym for joy, there was one word that fit, and it's actually perfect. And the acronym that I offer to you to consider this morning, J-O-Y, is that word that's on your order of service. The jollification of yourself. Jollification means a party or a celebration. And joy is the jollification, the celebration of yourself. I don't think we think about that very often. A friend of mine was talking to me, this has been a year or so ago, and he was talking to me, he said, I am so in love. That woman brings me so much joy. She makes me so happy. And I said, au contraire, amigo mio. She does nice things for you. She gives you pleasure. She gives you a sense of belonging. But I said the joy, the happiness that you have, that you feel, is your awareness of who you become in your participation of relationship with this person. You become the proverbial Boy Scout. Trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. You make sure you take a shower so you don't stink. You brush your teeth, you comb your hair, you make sure your clothes come to somewhat match. You look for ways to be polite, say kind things, and be complimentary. And when you realize that that's who you are, that is the joy. That is the happiness. It's not something someone gives to you. We can share our joy and happiness because it seems like it gives pleasure, or it's a best part of us that we're sharing. But real joy and real happiness is the jollification of yourself. It's the celebration of who and what you are. All of these wonderful qualities that every one of us has. I ask you to divert your attention to this marvelous quote at the bottom of your page. When you realize that you are your greatest asset, having infinite facets of unique qualities and abundance, you shall experience true joy in that realization, and as you share your value with the universe. A wise old Irish philosopher. You know, as we live in this world and we become aware of all the things going on in this world, how can we be happy and joy-filled with all the crap and corruption going on? Well, I'm going to tell you something. That crap and corruption cannot exist in the same space that joy and happiness exist in. Tyranny, violence cannot exist in the same space that happiness and joy take up. And if we can learn to be aware of what we are in this universe and what we possess and what we can share and the light that we can shine, that fear, that hatred, that crap and corruption cannot exist inside of us. And if there's enough of us that realize the jollification of ourselves, celebrate what and who we are, and have that joy and happiness within us. The fear and the anger and the dissent and the hatefulness cannot exist in our lives. It's not our jobs to stamp it out in the whole world. That's part of the created challenge that I think human beings are meant to deal with. But each one of us possesses the ability to be joy, to experience happiness and joy if we choose. And maybe that's the magic word. It's a choice. And you have to realize, you have to be aware that you are the manifestation of God. When you have a child, when you bring a child into this world, you have co-created another human being. That feeling, when you do that, has nothing in it except pure joy and happiness. When you realize you are doing an act of kindness, when you're cutting dandelions out of the front yard at church, you are serving the good of the whole. And I don't care how many mosquitoes and how hot it is, somewhere inside of you there is happiness and joy because you realize that you are serving the good of the whole rather than just yourself. Jollification of yourself, joy. If you're unable to celebrate yourself, you might be unable to realize joy. So look at yourselves, my dear friends. Each one of you is a gift to this universe. Each one of you has been created for the purpose of being part of all of the molecules and atoms of this entire universe. And all that complexity, you can sit right there on your couch at home, in your car seat right here in the pew. And when you realize what and who you truly are, you can have all the joy and happiness that you could ever desire. And that's a promise. Each one of us is a light. Some are bright, some are all different colors, all different intensities. But we can let that light shine. Maybe somebody's going through some really tough times. We don't know what other people are going through. We're only really aware of what we're going through. But all of us go through challenges. All of us are in a different phase of this life experience. And there's not a person in this room that can sit here and not say, if it wouldn't have been for that person, I may not have made it. Every one of us has needed a light from time to time in our lives. Every single one of us. So us being the learned, wise, spiritual community that we are, we have the ability to shine our light. Be the helping hand. Be the inspiration. Maybe show folks what joy and happiness can look like. Let's stand up and sing together. This little light of mine.